How's it going, YouTube? We are back, and this time I'm going to be discussing the impact of Manny Pacquiao's upset loss to your Dennis Ugas and what effect it has on the rankings for the welterweight division. Before I get started, I have to ask you guys to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help me out. So I have the top 10 listed up right here. This is going to be through Ring TV, so this is not my personal rankings. This is what Ring TV has. So if there's names that you don't recognize, it is from Ring TV and not through me. So number 10, a guy that I have not had the pleasure of watching just yet. Out of Lithuania, Imantas Stenonia. These Eastern European fighters are starting to come out, and they're starting to become like a serious mainstay in boxing. Lomachenko has been a solid fighter for a very long time in the lightweight division, super featherweight as well as featherweight. So he's been a mainstay down there, and we're starting to see more and more of them. Triple G being another one of those as an example. So he's 13-0-0. He does have 9 knockouts, so he does have some power. How you end up on the top 10 list with 13 wins means that you probably did have a pretty decorated amateur career. So number 2, out of Uzbekistan, another guy that I haven't had the opportunity to watch. Kudratio Abdukavov. Sorry if I butchered that name, but these Eastern European last names, they are a lot. Abdukavov out of Uzbekistan. He is 18-0 with 10 knockouts himself, so a little bit less power than Mr. Imanta, but another guy that likely has a highly decorated background. These Eastern European fighters, they're adopting some of the, the more American, Mexican style, with a mix of some good boxing talent, and, they really are making a difference. There's some really tough guys that come across the pond and make some noise out here. And now a name that a lot of people will more recognize. I still haven't seen him fight yet, but I do hear a lot about him, and that's Jaron Ennis. He's a beast. A lot of people might be upset that he's below another fighter on here, another young fighter. 27-0 with 25 knockouts, so he has a lot of power, a lot of future. So we'll see if we get him into a title fight sooner rather than later, whether it's against Ugas, whether it's against Crawford, whether it's against another top welterweight. We'll see, but he has a lot of power, and he can box. Undefeated. I think it's time that he probably gets a shot, even though he is only the number 8 ranked in the Ring TV rankings. Number 7, and a guy that I probably would have put below Jaron Ennis on my personal would be Danny Garcia. Not to disrespect Danny Garcia, he is a slick fighter, and he just could not touch Earl Spence. He's 36-3-0 with 21 knockouts. It's not a great knockout rate, but he is a guy that has sneaky power. Like, if you're not keeping your eyes on him at all times, he will catch you slipping with a check right hook or a check left hook. That's probably his most dangerous punch. Fights from that orthodox stance, and he just catches you coming in with that check left hook. Puts a lot of guys down. Number 6, and a guy that I have watched plenty of, is Virgil Ortiz. Still not quite into the top 5 yet for Virgil, but he's well on his way. 18-0 with 18 knockouts. A perfect knockout rating. Got a little bit buzzed in his last fight, but he stayed in the fight, stayed focused, got his knockout in a most patient and decorated fashion. He is better than probably everybody else on the list above him. A lot of people will say Jaron Ennis is better, but I personally think that Virgil is better. I've seen Garcia fight as well. Virgil is definitely better than Danny Garcia as well. Number 5, and dropping from where he was in that top 3, is Manny Pacquiao. So even still at his age, Manny Pacquiao is still a top 5 welterweight. So, I mean, whether he decides to hang him up or not, if he does, it's been a great career for him. Nobody can disrespect his impact in boxing and his impact in the Philippines as well. And he definitely has a future, you know, as a senator over there, possibly becoming a president in the Philippines. So I think this should be it for him. No need to risk his life anymore going in there when he has a 62-8-2 record with 39 knockouts. He's fought the best in the world multiple times and times over. There's really nothing you could say to disrespect Manny Pacquiao. He truly is a legend and one of the greatest to ever step foot in that ring. The only 8th division champ that we have ever seen in boxing. Number 4, which I think is a little bit interesting, Shawn Porter. No disrespect to Shawn Porter, but you know, it's been a while since I've seen him in a ring. I've never personally watched him fight, but I don't think that he should be above guys like Pacquiao or Virgil or maybe even Ennis. But I think that you know, the fact that he's possibly landing a fight with Terrence Crawford soon does bode well for him if he can put up a good performance and possibly stay in that top 5. He's got a 31-3-1 record with 17 knockouts, so he has some decent power. It's just I don't know if he can beat Crawford with his level of skill. He's lost tough fights. He had a really close decision against Yordenis Ugas, who Manny Pacquiao just lost to. So I mean, I guess that you can say that Shawn Porter is better than Pacquiao because Shawn Porter beat Ugas. They're at different points in their careers, obviously, but I personally think that Pacquiao is still a better fighter than Shawn Porter. And now climbing into the top 3 with his victory over Manny Pacquiao is Yordenis Ugas. Out of Cuba. Showed a very, you know, typical, you know, Caribbean style of fighting. That Cuban, you know, points, utilizing their jab, and not taking too many risks. I mean, he did land some power shots on Manny Pacquiao, but nothing that would really put himself in harm's way, which was probably the smart decision. And I really think that he did deserve to win that fight. I think he did win that fight most definitely. He kept Pacquiao on the outside all day long, and Manny's legs aren't the same as they used to be. He couldn't find his way in. So Ugas fought the way he needed to fight, and he did have an injured bicep as well. So credit to him for staying in there and working through a tough injury, especially for a boxer with that bicep. Number 2 right now on the Ring TV rankings is Terrence Crawford. Oops, spelled his name wrong. Excuse me. One of the pound-for-pound best for a very long time now. You know, he's been inactive for a little bit. I've seen plenty of his fights. I know how good he is. Switch hitting in terms of his power. 37 wins, 28 by knockout. WBA champion, Yordenis Ugas. WBO for Terrence Crawford. I've seen a lot of his fights. I've seen what he can do in the ring. I just need to see him against tough competition. Let me see him in there against Shawn Porter. Let me see him in there against Earl Spence. Let me see him in there against Virgil. Let me see him in there against Ennis. If he can beat all these guys, then most if he can beat all these guys, then most definitely he is, you know, one of the great welterweights. That record is stellar. It's astounding. It's great. But the constant argument with him is, who has he fought? That's not an argument that I really like, because you're still stepping in there 37 times and you still have to beat the other guy 37 times. But that argument's always going to be there until he beats one of these top guys, whether it's Ugas, whether it's Porter, whether it's Pacquiao, whether it's Virgil, whether it's Earl Spence, who comes in at number 1. He is the IBF and WBC champion. So he has 2 of the straps. He's 27-0. with 21 knockouts, so he does have power. He's a great boxer, southpaw, tough, gritty, been through a lot in his life in terms of adversity, that accident that a lot of people thought would end his career. Now this retina tear in his eye that could also end his career. I hope that he does come back because he really is a great fighter. Whether he's better than Crawford, I don't know. I haven't decided who I think is better, to be honest with you. I think that they both have their strengths and their weaknesses. They're about the same size. I think Spence is probably an inch taller. They're really, really great fighters, both of them. So I don't know who I would pick in that fight. I think it's truly a 50-50 fight, like the epitome of a 50-50 fight. I really don't know who wins when they go at it. If they go at it, hopefully they do go at it, because it's a fight that boxing could really need, or that could really use. And you know, I think that the sooner we get those two guys in the ring, the sooner that you know, boxing gets a lot of light, because the best are fighting the best. That's all we can ask for as fans, whether win, lose, or draw for either one of those guys. Champions fighting champions, and that's what we need in the sport. So that's what happened. That's the current standings of the welterweight division right now, which is 147 for boxing. And that's going to do it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe. Comment your guys' #1 fighter in the welterweight division. If you guys would like to make a donation to the channel, it's No Hit Media on Cash App, and I will see you guys next time.